All right, we're going right now, but we'll definitely make sure this is still going as we're going along.
It just powers down.
No, I actually had that
one.
I had that once on the Dulce bass.
Oh, really?
Where I'd say maybe 10 minutes into the episode, this thing just stopped for no reason. Just stopped recording, and then I looked at it and finally realized it only recorded about anywhere between 8 minutes and 9 minutes of our.
That was a pretty long podcast.
Yeah.
So what happened? It's just suck a bag of dicks.
Well,
I'm
like,
not working.
I just checked it, and it was like 15 minutes in, and then well, Julian, we got to start all over from basically the beginning of the podcast. So
that is weird. Well,
yeah.
Hopefully that doesn't happen today.
All right, break. Welcome everybody to Let's Make It Weird. My name is Matt.
We're off to a bad start.
Jake, how are you doing?
I am fantastic.
Excellent.
I'm sleepy. That's going to be a recurring theme on the show, just me saying I'm sleepy.
Hey dude, I do not blame you. This is it's a sleepy topic. Today we are talking about Bigfoot.
Bigfoots. What is it?
Bigfoot is a cultural phenomenon. What do you say about Bigfoot that a lot of people don't already know? It's huge, it's hairy, and it lives in the woods.
Yeah, more like my ex-wife.
Oh.
Okay, well I'm just gonna show myself out. So, on that note.
Anyway, thank you everybody again for joining us again. It's been a while, but we're back at it. We're gonna try and keep this up and do this
Indefinitely.
At the very least, twice a month. That's what I'm going for.
Mark my words, an episode a day, maybe two.
Good God. Oh, yeah, my wife is going to love that. Anyway, so yes, Bigfoot. Jake, what do you know about Bigfoot?
Very little. I came to this episode very unprepared. I opened up a Wikipedia tab on my computer, and then I promptly closed it. So, maybe you can fill me in, but when I think Bigfoot, I think Sasquatch, I think the Yeti, Abominable Snowman, and the Wendigo. So I'm not sure if those are all the same thing or variations.
Wendigo is different. Wendigo is a wind spirit of Native American lore, and what it does is it takes over a person's body and causes them to be cannibal, I believe, or gives them cannibal tendencies.
So basically, Until Dawn.
Actually, yes.
Well, exactly like Until Dawn.
It was based off of Wendigos.
Okay,
But Bigfoot's different. I mean, although they do have cannibal stories involved with them, they're not necessarily cannibal people. Or, I guess,
people?
They do. There's, stories of them, hunting people and, tracking them down to the forest and then dragging off, a person or two from a village and, eating them. But then there's also stories of them, capturing people and using them to, raise their children. I guess it's like a nanny.
Using people as nannies,
yeah. All right, well, we're going to start off.
What a mundane fate. So you're going to eat me now, Bigfoot? No, you're our nanny. You're our butler.
Yeah. So the kids go to sleep at 7. We'll be home at 11. There's menus in the junk drawer if you want to order, food or something like that. There's a little cash on the counter. And don't drink all our booze.
Try to shoot for low shelf stuff.
Yeah. Stick with the Malibu.
Well, that got stupid real fast.
Anyway.
So
Bigfoot is a proposed hominid, or hominid-like creature, or cryptid that lives in very remote locations across the world.
Just for our viewers who maybe don't... Viewers including me, who
yes.
I'm pretty sure I will be at least half of our viewers. What is a cryptid? Sounds like something from Star Trek.
A cryptid is a proposed creature that may or may not exist based on the fact that there's no real proof that they exist at all. There's no physical evidence.
Oh, okay, and you know what? I just remembered cryptozoology.
Yes, cryptozoology is the study of unknown creatures. Technically, the mountain gorilla and even the Komodo dragon were cryptids at one point. They were just stories we heard from natives and we didn't have any evidence that they actually existed. And unfortunately, cryptozoologists will actually point to those two things and a couple other things like oh my god, it's a giant fish that we found underwater.
Salmon.
Not quite.
Goldfish.
No,
very large
it was
goldfish.
a prehistoric fish.
Oh shit. Shoots. Sorry.
No. You can say shit all you want.
Shit. Balls. Damn. I'm blanking on it too. Man, this really hit a wall fast.
Well, for some reason I can't think of the name of this thing, but it was a fish that was thought to have died off hundreds of thousands, if not maybe 1 million years ago.
Yeah, really big fish.
And it was just found off the coast of, I believe, Africa. And
that's crazy.
Yeah, but the natives knew about it. They fished it before. They brought it up in their nets. They just, no one believed that it actually still exists because
they just know it's a fish.
Oh yeah, and Western society is all like, no, these things can't exist anymore. We know that they're in fossils.
Yeah.
And they're going to use that as evidence to state that, well, it's possible that Bigfoot does still exist and is still out there in the world.
Pretty flimsy argument.
Well, I mean, especially because you need certain breeding populations. We'll get into that. But
yeah.
Let's give you guys some names of Bigfoot across the world. I mean, Bigfoot is also known as Sasquatch here in North America.
Or Young Squatchy.
Young Squatchy.
That's his DJ name.
DJ Young Squatch.
Squatch.
Also in Florida, have you heard of something called the skunk ape?
Skunk ape?
Yes.
That sounds nightmarish.
Yes, it lives in the Everglades of Florida particularly, but it's also been sighted in Alabama and I believe parts of Texas where it's still kind of swampy.
The skunk ape?
Yeah.
Can't get over that name.
Basically a version of Bigfoot that's a little bit shaggy hairier, longer shaggy hair, and then it stinks like a bunch of skunks. They say because it lives in dens with a bunch of rotting flesh and stuff like that.
Ew.
It'll kill an alligator and live in its den with the dead alligator. It's fucked up.
So not a good house guest.
No, it's like somebody wanting to move into your house and killing you and then living in the house with you still in the house.
Sounds like my ex-wife. That doesn't even make sense. At least the first time it was somewhat pertinent. No, I've never heard of that. Skunk ape. Is that is that recent? Is that a recent urban legend or?
I think it goes back to at least the 80s.
Well, that's still fairly recent.
Fairly recent, but there's still stories of Bigfoot's. There are some maps you'll find of Bigfoot sightings. Texas is really hot. Obviously Pacific Northwest is really hot, but also Illinois has had some sightings.
He gets around. It's just one.
Yeah, Canada has had a ton. The Rockies, Appalachians, all have had them. There's one called the Ohio Grassman, and from what I understand, that's a particularly violent version of Bigfoot. It actually will attack people and not just try and run away from them or attack them if they get too close, but they will actively chase you out of their area.
That's scary.
I don't know if it's because it's flatlands or maybe they really just want you out of their home, but yeah, they will attack you pretty hardcore if they find you in their area.
It's really scary. And it's all hearsay in fiction as far as we know.
Absolutely.
But when you think of Bigfoot, you think of something closer to a monkey or an ape rather than a person.
Yeah.
And you hear stories about what domesticated monkeys do to people.
Fuck that, man.
Yeah, dude.
That chimp that tore that lady's face off?
Exactly. So think about what a human-sized one could... Well, apes or gorillas are bigger than people, so that doesn't really apply. But
well, imagine also you get the stuff like the Yeti, the urine from China.
The what?
The urine.
Urine? Just pee?
No, urine. Yeren. Urine.
Yeah, pee.
Okay. That one's from China. You get the Yowie from Australia.
And that's where things kind of get weird because, it's easy to write this off for so many scientific reasons that, the breeding population must be so high that, of course, we'd have found it by now. Why don't we have better photos? Maybe a third thing, I don't know. But you find that the same thing comes up, like, in different cultures.
Yeah, and really all that really changes is like coloration and size. And when it really comes down to it, yes, okay, Bigfoot are supposed to be like anywhere from like 6 to 9 feet tall, which is enormous.
9 feet tall, Jesus.
Yeah. Can you, like, Paul is what, 6'3"?
Paul is 13 feet tall.
Paul is like 6'3". He is pretty tall.
He is 6'48".
I can't do mental math, so I'm just going to assume that's big.
6 feet plus 3 extra feet. 4 extra feet.
4 extra feet.
Sorry, internet, do not check my math.
But then also there's got to be, I mean, just like human beings, there's variation in size between human beings. There's got to be variation in size between Bigfoot. Yeah. So while the Bigfoot here in North America tend to be on the taller side, anywhere from 6 to 9 feet tall, you get ones like in the Orang Pendek from Indonesia, sure. And that one tends to be anywhere from like 3, I think, to 5 feet tall. And that one has more of an orangutan sort of color. So, but it's also like, it runs around like kind of orangey color.
So it's just an orangutan? They just discovered orangutans?
Yes, it could be an orangutan.
Fuck it, let's call it Bigfoot.
Also at the same time, it's supposed to run around on 2 feet instead of its 4 limbs.
It's just a really short person with orange hair.
That sucks.
Yeah, he's just... I'm trying to get to work.
I'm just Irish.
Stop putting me in zoos.
There's also one that I have a hard time pronouncing. It's Buramanu. That one's actually found in the mountains between Pakistan and Afghanistan.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, this whole broad range of places where people will cite these tall, hairy beings that are like seem wild and all that stuff, they're all so separated.
Yeah. And that's what makes me want to believe.
Yeah. And
the fact that, I mean, like, all these cultures can't be wrong. Like...
No. And
well, I mean,
also,
they very well can.
A lot of these are like oral cultures that have like oral histories that date back thousands and thousands of years ago.
But you think thousands of years ago people were stupid.
True. But also maybe thousands of years ago we also lived around the same time as certain creatures that were starting to die out. The Homo floresiensis is one. It's called the Hobbit.
Africa, right?
Yeah. And that one also was about anywhere from 3 to 4 feet tall, but also had more simian features to it.
Yeah.
And then you had Gigantopithecus, which was like a giant ape. And that was actually
frightening.
And that was dying out around the same time that human beings were starting to really develop their culture and spread out from, Eurasia out to other places around the world.
Why did it die out? Because we encroached?
No, I think it was just a matter of its, its
it just
habit.
sucked.
Yeah.
God's like, see you in hell, fuckers.
Fuck you guys. No, its habitat was just not suitable for it to really exist anymore, and its breeding population dwindled, so it dwindled too. But also, I mean, that could carry on in their oral history of existing with this giant hairy creature. And another theory that I heard too was that sometimes, back in the day, we didn't have an idea what mental health was and what, a mental disorder could be.
Ooh.
So what they would do is, anyone who's crazy or might have, just might be off enough that they don't mesh with the society that needs every member to work in sync with each other, they just send them off into the woods. And then they're living there, they're going feral. They can act however they want. And they become hairy, dirty, and they lose all their, human societal norms.
Yeah, more beast than man.
Exactly. So a lot of that could actually play part of what their idea of a wild man would be.
I never once thought of that, but that makes a lot of sense.
It's kind of interesting to really.
And history is full of really fucked up shit.
Yeah,
like that.
And especially too because we don't have a clear idea of what our history was back maybe almost 3,000 years ago.
No idea.
Even 1,000 years ago, we have a hard time really getting a good idea of what our history was. We have a lot of written documentation, but 2,000 years ago, there wasn't a whole lot that we have really to go for because a lot of it's been destroyed.
Yeah.
10,000 years ago, we have almost
Not
nothing.
a clue.
Oh yeah, and it's just there's just so much that we don't know anymore, and this just could be one of those things that kind of like we've forgotten over time, like that we used to live with these things, or that these things even still exist, and how we find them.
They could in just in very small populations. Actually, I was washing dishes when I got home today. That's right, ladies. I do chores. And I was thinking about Red Dead Redemption.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you ever played it.
I've heard you find a Bigfoot in that.
Yeah. Okay. So the expansion or the DLC or whatever is called Undead Nightmare.
Yeah.
And there's a part where one of the missions is you're hunting Bigfoot, and it's been so long I don't remember why, but you kill him.
Oh no.
And in the ending cutscene, you're standing over his dying body, and he's sentient. He can speak perfect English, and he explains that he's the last of his kind. So I wonder if it's just been a slow war of attrition.
It could be.
A slow war of attrition, and on top of that, they deem us a threat.
Yeah.
They're sentient, they speak, and they're just hiding.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
think of
absolutely think that is possible.
Think of The Descent. They could be the Hadals.
Yeah.
Hadals, whatever. They could just be underground.
They absolutely could be. Or, it just could be that they're so in tune with their environment that they are able to hide. They live in some very remote places. There are parts of Canada that nobody goes to. And it also could
like
be...
Arby's. That broke your train of thought. America, this is our call. Let's invade the core of the earth.
Let's. The core...
Jacob 2016.
You got time, man. I could write you in on a ballot.
Oh, so that's one vote.
There's one
Hashtag
vote.
stay woke. Hashtag.
You can vote for yourself, too. You got two.
Oh, man. Dude, I'm getting fired tomorrow. Our boss is going to hear this podcast.
He is
and
not listening to this. Not at all.
he is militantly opposed to it. He's going to hear us and be like, both of you are fired. Pack your bags. We're deporting you to Venezuela.
Well, one of the things that I want to, I haven't had a chance to actually research too much into is like the seasonal sightings of Bigfoot. I wonder if part of it's the fact that Bigfoot comes down into more populated areas because that's where their range used to be. That's where they'd go and eat during the winter, and then they'd summer further north maybe, and that's why we don't see them for certain times, or maybe we see them more during the winter seasons or something like that, or fall when they're moving further south to find food.
Well, that sounds very beast-like, I suppose. And so my question before we go any farther is, do you think Bigfoot is sentient or a beast?
My honest opinion is I would have to say it's kind of in between. I would have to say that it's at least smart enough to hide itself from human beings and realize that human beings are a fucking problem to them.
That's very intelligent.
Yeah. But then there's also the fact that they perform stuff, it's theorized, that they perform stuff called wood knocking. Wood knocking is, I don't know if you've ever seen those Bigfoot hunting shows. They'll have a guy and he's got a big stick and he's banging it against trees.
Okay.
Other apes, I think in Africa, do the exact same thing, but it's for communication across distances.
So Morse code?
Almost. Or just to you'll hear a wood knock off in the distance and you'll knock yourself and try to triangulate to them and meet them halfway. And maybe, they've got some information on where there's good places to eat, or they've got fresh water, or, we saw these predators over here, keep an eye out.
So you think they have language?
I have no evidence of that. There's a lot of... God, some of the websites I've been to have talked about Bigfoot being psychic and moving into a woman's house, and then her teaching it
just as a roommate.
Yeah, just as a fucking roommate. A family of Bigfoots male, female, and like their 2 or 3 children.
I think you just watched Harry Meets the Hendersons.
They're
It's not a documentary.
They're invisible
Okay,
to
we're
everyone
getting off
but
the
her,
rails.
and she teaches them how to drive her pickup.
Yeah, that's a hallucination.
Yeah.
That's a crazy lady.
That is
hallucinating.
Yeah, that is the mental disorders that we weren't able to identify back in the day. That's her.
Well, what era was that? I mean, you give her pickup.
2 or 3
This
years
was
ago.
yesterday.
This was really recent.
Jesus.
Yeah. There was another website I went to where they talked about how Bigfoot was guarding a dimensional gate.
Yeah.
Thanks, Peanut.
Yeah, for those who are wondering why we just started laughing, Matt's dog decided to ambush me and...
Sniff your armpit for no reason.
Yeah, and freak the shit out of me. I'm so engrossed in this conversation. Hi, buddy. Hi.
Yeah, so Bigfoot is, I would have to say, at least conscious enough to understand that people are a problem. I shouldn't say conscious. Sentient enough to know that people are a problem and they need to stay away from people.
That's very intelligent. That's maybe not human levels, but that's definitely up there.
Oh yeah.
It's very fascinating. I had a half-formed thought that I'm slowly losing.
Okay.
But it was that Bigfoot were like Neanderthals.
Yeah. And it could just be that they're like an ancient race that maybe evolved along with us.
Yeah.
And like you said before, probably just dying out. That their numbers are so low that they probably have enough food to survive on and know enough where each other are for breeding, but not enough to be a presence.
Yes. And humans have survived for a reason. We are smart, we are crafty, and we are...
Kill every
just
problem that
fucking
we come
brutal.
across.
Warlike, awful. So I heard that we killed the Neanderthals. Like, not indirectly, but, like, waged war.
Could be. I mean,
Or not war, but, killed them when we saw them.
I would imagine that we probably did. I mean, there's also probably the fact that we were just more dominant than they were, and we were taking over their breeding grounds and their hunting grounds. So we just kind of edged them out of places where they needed to survive and just stopped surviving.
Yeah.
I mean,
that could be it.
Yeah, it's quite scary to really think that, how many species have we done this to that we have
8.
forgotten about?
Neanderthals, Bigfoot, aliens, 5 types of birds.
The dodo.
Fuck it. Yeah, dude, fuck the dodo, man.
Oh, God,
Guy got messed up.
We killed those suckers really hard.
Oh, man, they didn't even stand a chance.
Not at all. So, why do you think Bigfoot's so fascinating to everybody? Why do you think it's such a cultural... I mean, I have got a hat on right now that says Gone Squatchin'.
I got a hat that says, I can't resist drugs or violence. I shouldn't have said that out loud. It's from Hollywood Undead, for those who care. Meaning myself. Bigfoot is interesting, I believe, because as a people, we are obsessed about where we come from.
Oh, yeah.
I think that there's a very sharp divide between we were created like this and we evolved. And I think half the fun is I'm doing air quotes, but mistakes along the way. The Homo gigantus or whatever. The
Gigantopithecus,
hobbits.
yeah.
That wasn't even close. Neanderthals, possibly Bigfoot.
Yeah.
The idea that, we're not alone and we're not perfect. That, we still have growing to do, but also look how far we've come.
Yeah. I also think part of it's too is there's another upright, 2-foot walking mammal out there that is vaguely similar to us physically.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that there's no evidence that they exist. I mean, everyone who's listening to this has probably seen the the Patterson Gimlin film.
When you say probably everyone, you mean yourself.
You've seen it. It's that grainy, like 35 millimeter film.
Oh, like him looking over his shoulder.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So
everyone has seen
2
that.
out of 2.
Yes, and that is probably the only maybe solid evidence that's out there. And even a lot of the experts look at that. Oh God, I'm sorry, and say that
was a good break.
Oh, good Lord.
All right,
It's
well,
so
we're gonna take
salsa.
we're gonna take a quick break from the podcast to take Matt to the hospital.
Oh, that heartburn is so bad. But yeah, it could possibly be that is like the only evidence that exists of a Bigfoot. A lot of the experts think that might actually be fake. But it's also possible that is the only really solid piece that's out there. And I mean, even as a kid, I watched that and thought this was the coolest thing in the world. Even looking at the picture of the Loch Ness Monster, I knew that there was something wrong. And then years later, I heard as a kid that was faked. I knew there was something wrong with it, but the mystery still awed me.
Okay.
Let me even say this. My friend, he brought me back a stone from the shores of the Loch Ness. It's just a stone that he could have picked up off the road, but I think it's from the Loch Ness.
No, he got that in Wooddale.
It could be, but I've got it on my mantle. He really went to Scotland, though, and he did bring me back a stone from the Loch.
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
It is. I hold it every once in a while and think that maybe the Loch Ness touched it, or the Loch Ness Monster touched it, but I really don't think it did.
The Loch Ness Monster took a crap on that stone.
I shouldn't have put it in my mouth.
Yep. Well,
But yeah, it's that mystery that really, like, I think drives some people, that there's something out in the world that we haven't explained and that we don't know where it came from, who manufactured it.
Yeah.
It's still a mystery as much as our past is a mystery.
I think life can be so mundane.
Yeah,
I mean,
think
we
that's
wake up
another
every
part.
day, we go to our jobs, we come home, we go to sleep.
Yeah.
Do the same thing. That we want to believe in more. We want to believe that there are ghosts, that there are aliens, that
Yep.
there are mysterious, semi-sentient ape beings in our forests. I think that's a big part of our time. That's part of our zeitgeist.
Yeah, I actually think it is, and also because like the more man goes away from the forest, the more the more we're taken away from our primitive past, the more we look to it because we have now gone so far into technology. I also think that's another part of it.
Yeah, I agree.
And yeah, now that we've covered all of that, the cultural, the sociological aspects of it, do you think Bigfoot could be an alien?
What the fuck?
I've heard stories. Okay, so
No, just hold on. I'm just imagining Independence Day style. One Bigfoot on a gigantic ship the size of our moon, and he crashes or he loses it and he lands on Earth, and he's like, well, fuck, I was the most important member of the universe, and now I'm just gonna be stuck in blurry photos for the rest of my life. Good thing I'm not wearing pants.
yeah, right. Good thing there's no clothes in here. No, I mean there's actually been some reports from people who've seen UFOs that they've also seen Bigfoot in the same area. Within maybe minutes or hours of seeing the UFO.
I mean, we could delve into the socioeconomic climate of those places, like, how smart these people are.
It could be.
Not to sound elitist myself, because I am not intelligent.
It also could be like, some of these areas also have high instances of Bigfoot. Or,
Well, there's so many factors below the surface. I was talking to a coworker today, and we were talking about the movie The Fourth Kind.
yeah.
Yeah, so they purported that the large amount of missing people in Nome, Alaska, or maybe it's Alaska, is due to alien abductions, when it turns out that Alaska is really goddamn cold, and it has like a very high alcoholism rate, so people would wander out drunk and
Just disappear.
vanish,
Yeah. walk out into a tundra or a bear drags you away. I mean, it's really easy in these remote places just to get lost.
So there's a lot of factors you have to determine when you're talking about aliens and
Yes, and
Sasquatch.
and that's a very small subset of the alien UFO. Hello.
Quick call out.
Alien UFO, I guess, phenomenon. But I mean, there is still some instances that a hairy creature was climbing out of or into a UFO or a flying saucer. These are just reports I've heard.
Well, as long as we're going down the rabbit hole.
Yes, please.
God, I was reading an article. I want to say Cracked, but I could be wrong. And they were talking about eerie stories from the past regarding ghosts, regarding aliens that are too real to be false. And one of them is a pilot, like a trained Air Force pilot, who was flying along and radioed the airbase, or airfield, whatever, that he was being followed by this metallic object, vaguely Zeppelin-ish in shape, so kind of like a long, cigar-shaped thing, almost completely reflective, and it was following him and moving in patterns that were, and this is back in I want to say the 50s, the 40s, between the 40s and 60s. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Everything I'm saying is wrong. But he was talking about how it was following him and moving in flight patterns that were impossible for the time. So I'm talking quick 90-degree turns and stuff like that. And eventually his signal cut off, and the original theory was that, he crashed into the ocean. It's common for a pilot to get the sky and ocean mixed up.
Yeah.
But he was trained, he's Air Force trained. He should have known better. He should have been watching his
instruments,
dials, whatever. Stories like that make me believe that there is something out there that I cannot explain.
Absolutely.
And the universe is so vast that...
Oh, God, yeah. There's something that looks like Chewbacca might show up here.
I was watching the History Channel, Ancient Aliens, and they're talking about the Black Plague, how as their cities are dying, the knights, the guards, would watch from the top of towers across the farmlands and see very tall people with scythes slicing the grain and emitting smoke.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So, a theory by the guy with the crazy hair is that... Sukalakis, whatever. Is that, aliens caused the Black Plague, which is fucking stupid, but there's a lot more to the universe than that.
Okay, we'll talk about this on our alien plague disease episode.
Coming up in 30 minutes! Or your money back. We're not paying you. Go fuck yourself.
We have no money for this. There is some theories that some plagues some diseases that cut through humanity so easily are because, one, maybe we just haven't been in the area that this disease is native to, and it is so foreign to whoever encounters it. It is a wildfire that goes through human society,
sure.
Or it could be such an alien disease that may have been deposited by comets or asteroids that hit. I mean, comets.
Or Obama.
Thanks, Obama.
Trump 2016.
God, don't say that.
I tried to do the air horn app, but it didn't work. Alright, that was a good
God,
break.
let's not talk about that guy. At least for another 7 months until he's president.
Oh, God. Purge 2016.
Fuck. Anyway.
Yeah, let's not get political.
Yeah, Bigfoot could be an alien. There was also another podcast I was listening to that talked about
Just one thought. I would say he is like an indigenous ape. Before I would say
you would say he's more of a earthbound creature than he is.
Yeah, he's just an offshoot of evolution. I wouldn't say he's an alien.
Well, one of the other theories that I kind of hold to, and this is completely unsubstantiated by math, physics, or any other sort
my
of
kind of
empirical
theory.
science. Yes.
Wrong.
Is that it could be an extra-dimensional creature.
Oh, and here's where you lose me. Not because I don't believe, but because I can't wrap my head around it. I see the world in, what do we have, 3 dimensions?
3 dimensions, I guess.
I feel like I shouldn't have to ask. So when you talk about the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th dimension, you lose me.
Scientists say the 4th dimension is time. It's
like some Dr. Manhattan shit.
Kind of.
Okay.
But then when, like 5th or 6th dimension, I don't get that shit. I don't get the Palladians and why they want us to evolve to the 6th dimension.
Whoa, what?
We'll talk about this soon. You're a neophyte to all this bullshit. It's a hard time keeping this marriage I've got going.
Audience, you can't see my face. I am dumbstruck. The Palladians, the 5th dimension. Guys, if you don't hear from me, it's because I left the country.
We need some more drinks. Let's just say that.
That's true.
Anyway, I know we finished off our old fashions.
Which were fantastic, by the way. This podcast brought to you by just bourbon, because no company would sponsor us.
Oh god, yeah, we can't mention our sponsors any longer.
No, too many cease and desist lawyers.
Anyway, so Bigfoot, what I heard in one podcast was that in England, a lot of people were citing kind of tall, hairy creatures near ancient Celtic sites and Druid sites. And what they were seeing is, like, when they were going around these places, kind of like a hairy creature was on the holy path, like the path that the holy people would have traveled around these mounds or these kind of like pathways that they take to go from one site to another.
Sure.
They would see them on these paths, and the idea was that they were kind of summoned to protect these areas.
So there's a supernatural aspect to them.
It could be. I mean, it also could be, do you think the supernatural is part of our world or maybe part of a different world that's just kind of bleeding into our world?
I think the universe is far too vast for us to imagine, so anything is open to possibility.
Absolutely. What I kind of hold to is that maybe Bigfoot is an extra-dimensional creature that is sort of trapped in a way where it's part of our world and passes through our world every once in a while, and just we see it kind of going from its world through our world back into its world. Yeah, that's a big one.
That's deep. I just think he's a monkey.
He could be a monkey in a different universe.
In a different universe.
In a different universe.
All right, well.
Or he could be the dominant species in a different universe.
Back down the rabbit hole we go.
Yes. I've also been trying to...
Well, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Like, we could really delve into that.
I mean, it kind of makes sense as, like, why are all the photos of him blurry?
That would explain the, I guess, lack of population.
Yeah, because it doesn't exist in our world. It only uses our world to go from one point to another.
Yeah.
Maybe it's fast travel. Maybe it's just the fact that...
Fast travel. He just press starts and clicks on another location.
Boom, yeah, point A, point B. But it has to travel through Hickville just to get there.
That would be nuts.
Yeah. Or it could just be that they have to come to our world every once in a while to maybe eat or breed and then go back to their world, have their kids, and live the rest of their life. It's a possibility, and there is no evidence for it.
What if it's just... when we think of aliens, we think of either benevolent and almighty and wise, or warlike. What if they're just fucking dicks? What if they're trolls like us? And just, I'm gonna mess with these people.
It honestly could be that they are just, like, pranking us by using Bigfoot.
Have fun taking a blurry photo of me, dick. Hope you didn't want to get a job anytime soon.
You can make a career off of this, though. Let me tell you, Jeff Meldrum, he's a anthropology teacher.
Sure. In
the University of Ohio, I believe, and he has Ohio. Yeah. Sorry, and he has made a almost another career off of the study of Bigfoot prints, and he can
Can you call that a career?
He does. I don't know if you can put it on his taxes, but he definitely does.
Or his resume.
I don't know. It depends on who you're sending your resume to.
Just our boss looking over this. Well, it says you're hunting Bigfoot. There's the exit.
I would love to put that on the resume. Bigfoot hunter, huh?
Very confident.
I have fun hunting for another job.
You're so good at hunting Bigfoot, smart guy. Why don't you go find a job?
So yeah, I mean, also, there have been a couple websites I've run into there saying that the government's trying to hide Bigfoot from us. I have no fucking idea why the government would try and hide a creature from us.
Well, because they're not. Because the government's trying to hide everything from us, according to these people. That was my hat hitting the table, by the way. Sorry if it scared you. It scared me, and I was the one who did it.
Yeah, I have no idea why the government would want to hide Bigfoot from us.
There's some people who will just, hate the government.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They need every reason to hate the government.
I mean, there's Area 51, there's the lizard people, there's the mole people, there's Sasquatch, and the government is hiding them all. Frankly, I think
we'll
that's
talk
stupid.
about the reptilians along with the Pleiadians.
Oh god, the goddamn Palladians again. Are those the mole people?
No, they're a benevolent alien race that's trying to evolve us into the 6th dimension. Weren't you listening to me just like 10 minutes ago?
Obviously not.
Yeah. We're gonna stay
That
on
was
Bigfoot.
a gross noise.
We need to stay on Bigfoot.
No, I think one of the founding tenets of this podcast should be that
We go on rants?
rants are welcome because, frankly, who the hell is listening? It's going to be our coworkers, my mom, and your dogs.
Yeah.
Not even us. We don't give a shit about this.
While we're listening, the dogs will just listen to it while I'm going through post-production in this.
Well, good. We need the Nielsen rating.
Alright, so what do you think Bigfoot could be if it's not Bigfoot? If it's not what we know as Bigfoot?
Well, you brought up a really good point with the feral men. I think it could be like a feral, mentally challenged person who was cast out. I think it could be an offshoot of evolution.
Okay.
Honestly, it could be monkeys. Like, people see monkeys and they're like, what the shit is that? That's our cousin.
I mean, people see bears in the woods, and sometimes will not even know what they're seeing because they're seeing a dark shape moving in the distance through trees.
Yeah, exactly. And then the part that wants me to believe is that there's something more. That there is...
I mean, it's just...
I don't want to say magical, because that's where we get kind of dumb. But maybe something supernatural. Maybe something that doesn't totally exist in our realm. Because
like
you just brought that
dimension?
up. Yeah, you brought it up. And the more I think about it, the more I think that's kind of cool and also the fucking dumbest thing I've ever heard.
There's no real science for it yet, so...
Obviously not.
I mean, we're still trying to figure out if there's other dimensions. It's just theories right now that there are other dimensions. Who knows if they actually exist?
No, there's just Earth and then Dave and Buster's. We can edit that out in post. That was stupid.
Yeah, well, no, we're keeping that in.
Oh, shit. Well, we just lost me as a subscriber.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Bigfoot. I mean, honestly, misidentification of especially a lot of these people may not spend a whole lot of time out in nature or in the woods, so they may misidentify bears that are walking through the forest.
Yeah. On 2 legs, speaking English.
Probably. I do believe that there is... I was listening to somebody say that there is actually chimpanzees or monkeys that are native to Florida because after the Tarzan movie was finished recording in the Everglades, they just released all the animals into the wild, hoping that they would die out.
Man,
Except the
we
fucking
used to be stupid.
Jesus Christ. These monkeys took to the Everglades like it was a second home. So I do believe there's actually native monkeys to the Everglades.
Sure. I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, I've never heard of that, but that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people research that because the Everglades are just scary as it is.
Yeah, you got alligators, you got a second thing.
Yeah.
Water.
I mean, it also could come down to the fact that Bigfoot's just a big fucking hoax.
That could be it.
Because a guy may be out in the woods hoping to find somebody who's walking through with a smartphone so they can, snap a picture of a guy walking through in a gorilla suit. And, I mean, there have been a lot of well-known hoaxers. Rick Dyer is a guy who hoaxed. He is known as a Bigfoot hoaxer, which is the problem, is every time he comes out and says, I found Bigfoot, I've got a Bigfoot body, or I've got a movie where I've got Bigfoot in it.
A body? I shot that motherfucker dead.
Actually, yes. He said that he shot a Bigfoot outside of Austin, and he had a video of it, which didn't show shit. And then he also showed off the body once in like a trailer. It was like an ice chest that he would open up. There'd be a block of ice with a Bigfoot body in it. But any pictures I saw of it, it just looked like an ape suit stuffed with cotton in a block of ice.
Well, that's stupid.
Yeah, but he charged people like $15 just to go in and see it.
You gotta make a buck somehow.
And that's his problem, is all he's trying to do is make money. He says he believes that Bigfoot's real. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's at all true. I just think he's trying to make money off of people who really don't know any better.
Sure, yeah.
Which would be me. Yeah, I would maybe pay $15 to see a Bigfoot in a block of ice.
I would, okay.
Peanut,
easy
come on,
dog.
get done.
Actual Bigfoot in a block of ice, I would pay at least $30. A suit stuffed in cotton, I would pay no more than $10.
All right, I mean, you're at
but
least,
I am a very gullible shopper.
You're really willing to give it the go.
I just like cotton. Look at this seams.
I mean, yeah, he's well known for the fact that he hoaxes Bigfoots. There was a story back in the 1950s of a woodcutting crew, I believe out in California, woodcutting crew. They do deforestation, and they were chopping down trees, and one morning when they woke up in their camp, they found gigantic footprints all around their equipment. And they wrote into the local newspapers, they took pictures, they sent it, a lot of people took interest in this.
So it's documented.
Yeah, but then one of the crew on the, what are they called? Woodsmen? They actually admitted,
elves.
Yeah, they admitted to the fact that it was fake, and he created these giant.
There you go.
Yeah, these giant footprints.
I was interested for a second, and then he said it's fake.
But that's the problem: is a lot of these things can be fake. I mean, if you look up, there's pictures of a Bigfoot on a trail cam. It could be the fact that it's just like a poor angle of a bear trying to reach down and eat something from the bottom of a tree.
Sure, that is very vague.
I know. I'll show you the picture after we're done recording.
I'm sure our listeners will love the sound of you showing a picture to me that they are not privy to.
I will post it on social media. All right. Anyway, but it also looks kind of humanoid, like, the way the legs and the arms are bent. It looks like a kind of like a person who's really hairy.
Bears almost do. Like, if a bear gets up on his hind legs,
and especially the way this thing was angled, it could have just been a bear. There have been a couple other pictures of creatures on a trail cam, which we're probably going to be seeing a lot more of these things. And drones. People have cameras on drones now. They've got their own private drones, like, flying around. They're just kind of, like, investigating things.
Sure.
There's a really good video out, I believe, in Kansas, of a guy who had a drone. He was just trying to survey an area because part of a road was flooded out. And he was just trying to see how bad the road was up the way, because he was part of a government survey crew to make sure that the roads could actually be traveled on.
Sure.
And he saw a hairy humanoid retreating into a line of trees near the road. And he got the drone in closer to investigate this, and he kind of saw it like traveling back into the forest, but because of how thick the trees were, he really couldn't get in there.
Sure.
But it was, could it just be somebody who's just living off the grid, or a hobo? Which, there aren't too many hobos out there in the world anymore, but there are hobos.
That would be a hell of a coincidence.
Exactly.
Then again, it would be a hell of a coincidence if you found Bigfoot, though.
I definitely think it'd be a hell of a coincidence.
Either way, weird.
Yeah. Do you think we should, if somebody sees a Bigfoot, do you think it'd be better to take pictures of it or videotape it, or do you think it'd be better to shoot it and bring in a body?
Well, as far as endangered animal law goes, you don't get to just shoot whatever you want.
It's not on the endangered animal species list except for North Dakota. There's a couple places that say that you cannot shoot a Bigfoot. Texas, on the other hand, has no laws like that.
Texas is you see Bigfoot, you call in an airstrike, motherfucker.
Yeah, you drone strike that fucker.
That is, I don't know, man. I don't know anything about, hunting law. For the sake of our own education, I think a body would be better.
Yeah.
Because no one's going to believe a photo, man. Have you seen what you can do in Photoshop these days?
I honestly do believe that we need to put a bullet in its brain and bring it in.
But at the same time, what if we just killed the last Bigfoot?
I'm okay with that. At the very least, we have evidence now that it existed. And I do think that's part of science is to know that something was once here. Yeah, maybe we are killing the last Bigfoot like we killed the last dodo or the Tasmanian tiger.
The last copy of Atari
or
ET.
the coelacanth. That was the fish from earlier.
I was going to say, I was looking that up. I was going to say plesiosaur. But yeah, coelacanth.
It's a coelacanth.
Go us!
Again. Woo!
Jake and Matt 2016.
Oh yeah, we are not going into office anytime soon.
Oh no.
Except for the office tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Aren't you excited?
Dude, I'm so excited.
Right.
I think, never mind.
Anyway, yeah, I do think we need to bring in a body. We need to test its DNA. We need to go through its guts and make sure that it was a real thing and not just a person in a suit.
That is a very utilitarian attitude, but I agree. The whole, we need this for science versus nature, I suppose.
Yeah. But the problem is just will anybody actually believe it if you just bring in photos in your notes? No.
Absolutely not.
No. People still there are people who barely believe that the Large Hadron Collider is not producing black holes to destroy the world. That is not what they were trying to do.
Oh man, they would be misguided.
Absolutely. Did you know there was a Large Hadron or there was a particle accelerator not too far from here?
Yeah, it's called...
There's a Fermi Lab out in Bensonville.
Yep.
Yeah.
I visited.
Dude, that's the coolest thing ever. They have a dog park there.
Oh, shit. I didn't know that.
Right on top of where they made black holes.
The dog park is just the loop where they keep all the... Where they keep... That doesn't make any sense. That's where we keep our particles.
Oh, God.
Dude.
Anyway, Bigfoot.
I have it on very good authority, by which I mean Hotel Transylvania 2, that he is currently tearing it up in the German soccer league.
Good for him.
You sounded so disappointed.
Couldn't he have picked a better team?
I don't know, man. I don't watch soccer.
Me neither. I don't know anything about it.
We were doing so good, and I had to bring that up. Shoot.
Anyway, folks, we're going to sign off for now.
Do we do any sort of follow me on this?
We have a Twitter. I can't remember its exact handle.
Oh, this is a very bad ending. This is a bad ending to a bad start.
Let's Make It Weird Pod.
Something like that. Just look it up, man.
I'll put it in the show notes. Follow us. Jake will now be our social media master.
Ladies.
And hopefully you enjoyed this as much as we enjoyed talking about it. And we do hope you join us for the next episode, which will be kind of spooky about ghosts. Yeah!
Dude, I have the fucking app. Why don't I ever have it open?
Anyway, so guys, we hope you had fun. We hope you enjoyed listening to us.
I don't give a shit about what you're saying.
Follow us on Twitter.
Or don't. I mean, we're not your mom.
And keep it weird, guys.
Keep it very weird.
All right.
I love you.
Bye. It's still recording.
Dude, that was awesome. That was a lot of fun.
55 minutes.